Good afternoon, Grace Community Church. Welcome back to our daily devotionals. I'm Pastor Billy, and I hope you guys are having a great start to your week, enjoying a beautiful day outside. And we're going to continue starting a new week today, starting a new chapter in the Gospel of John as we continue through that gospel. And we're going to be looking at John chapter 9 today. I hope you guys had a chance to watch our Sunday message yesterday as we started a new series, Unstuck. If you didn't get a chance to, you can find that video right here on YouTube as well. And let's open our Bibles to John chapter 9 today, and let's read John chapter 9 verse 1 through 23 today. All right. Verse 1. As he went along, he saw a man blind from birth. His disciples asked him, "Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind?" "Neither this man nor his parents sinned," said Jesus. "But this happened so that the works of God might be displayed in him. As long as it is day, we must do the works of him who sent me. Night is coming when no one can work. While I am in the world, I am the light of the world." After saying this, he spit on the ground, made some mud with the saliva, and put it on the man's eyes. "Go," he told him, "wash in the pool of Siloam," which this word means sent. So the man went and washed and came home seeing. His neighbors and those who had formerly seen him begging asked, "Isn't this the same man who used to sit and beg?" Some claimed that he was. Others said, "No, he only looks like him." But he himself insisted, "I am the man." "How then were your eyes open?" they asked. He replied, "The man they called Jesus made some mud and put it on my eyes. He told me, 'Go to Siloam and wash.' So I went and washed, and then I could see." "Where is this man?" they asked him. "I don't know," he said. They brought to the Pharisees the man who had been blind. Now the day on which Jesus had made the mud and opened the man's eyes was a Sabbath. Therefore the Pharisees also asked him how he had received his sight. "He put mud on my eyes," the man replied, "and I washed, and now I see." Some of the Pharisees said, "This man is not from God, for he does not keep the Sabbath." But others asked, "How can a sinner perform such signs?" So they were divided. Then they turned again to the blind man. "What have you to say about him? It was your eyes he opened." The man replied, "He is a prophet." They still did not believe that he had been blind and had received his sight until they sent for the man's parents. "Is this your son?" they asked. "Is this the one that you say was born blind? How is it that now he can see?" "We know he is our son," the parents answered, "and we know he was born blind, but how he can see now, or who opened his eyes, we don't know. Ask him. He is of age. He will speak for himself." His parents said this because they were afraid the Jewish leaders who already had decided that anyone who acknowledged that Jesus was the Messiah would be put out of the synagogue. That was why his parents said, "He is of age. Ask him." So we see another miracle of Jesus here. He is walking, he's with his disciples, and he sees a blind man, and disciples ask a question of Jesus. His disciples ask, "Who sinned? The man that was blind, or his parents?" And this probably would have been a common belief for Jewish people, and for the disciples. They were probably taught that when someone, disability was the result of sin, whether the parents or the person, someone's sin. That's probably what they were taught. And Jesus responds with neither of them. He says it wasn't his parents' fault. It wasn't his fault. Neither of them did anything wrong for him to be born blind. He says that his condition was so that the works of God could be on display, so that God's power would be on display. And he then takes some mud He spits on the ground and he makes some mud with his saliva and he puts it on the man's eyes and tells him to go wash. And then the man sees. I mean, not the way I would choose to be healed, probably not the way you would want to be healed, especially in this day of age right now. We could tell COVID-19 was not a thing during Jesus's time for him to spit on the ground and make mud and then put it on someone's eyes. He would be arrested today if he did something like that, right? But he did that there. He spit on the ground, made saliva, or made some mud, put it on the man's eyes, and he is healed. Why Jesus used the methods he did to heal people, I don't know. But he did, and it worked, and this man is healed. And again, once again, after this man can see, we see something interesting happen. We see that his neighbors, the people who had seen him begging and asking, they were confused. They were asking, is this the same man? Is it someone else? They were kind of confused. They didn't even recognize him. They couldn't understand how he could see. And isn't that what happens when God changes you and God does something, God heals you or does something in your life? It's such a drastic change that sometimes the people that know you don't understand how you're the same person, right? And the man's saying, no, it's me. I'm trust me. It's me. I am the man. I'm the man who was blind. I'm the person who was this way before. But see, something happened. Jesus. I met Jesus and this is what happened. It changed me, right? And we see as everybody is asking, everybody is spreading word. They bring the man to the Pharisees, and the Pharisees once again get upset. Jesus made them mad again. Jesus is always making the Pharisees mad. We see it almost every day as we read our Bibles. We go through the Gospel of John. Jesus is constantly doing things that upsets the Pharisees, and he doesn't stop. He just doesn't stop doing it. And this is something that they have already brought to his attention, that they do not like it when he heals people on the Sabbath. Remember, he healed the man who was by the pool, or a beggar, on the Sabbath. And they healed him then, and they got upset. And Jesus had a big argument with them back then about this. And they are mad again because he is healing on the Sabbath still. And a big argument happens. And we'll continue to read tomorrow this discussion of what happens from here and what Jesus says. But once again, conflict happens because of Jesus healing on the Sabbath, healing someone's life. And I think today, takeaway in this, as we read this part of this story, this account, is that not everything that we consider bad that has happened to us is because of sin. A lot of times, a lot of things bad come from sin. Sin, that brings bad things, and it's true. But not everything that has happened to us in our life is because of sin. I think this is something to realize here. I mean, the disciples assumed that somebody sinned for this man to be blind. And I think most people would agree being born blind is a bad thing. It's a negative thing. That's something that people wouldn't choose to happen. But it wasn't because of his sin. It was so that God's glory could be on display. God's power, God's works could be on display. In other words, this man was born blind so that God could use that for his purpose. Now, yesterday, this kind of goes with the message yesterday that I spoke about Moses, who, remember Moses, as we were talking in Exodus, if you didn't hear the message, I'm sorry, but this is part of that. Moses said, one of the things Moses had a problem with when God was asking, and really telling Moses he was going to use him, was that he said, I can't speak. And God said in that moment, who makes someone's mouth? Who makes a person's mouth? Who determines if someone's blind or not? And the whole thing in that is that it's not about us. Again, this is a reminder that it's not about us. This man was born blind, but it wasn't about him. It wasn't about what he did. God had something planned already that he was going to use that. And now he can see. And how powerful this was, because now God's power was on display and these people were able to see that God is not a God who doesn't do anything. God is doing miracles. God is doing miracles. Some of the things we see and some of the things that have happened are simply so God can do a miracle, so that his power may be on display. And so I think it's important for us to remember that today. It's important to not always assume that, things that have happened to us are because we made a mistake or we did something. Sometimes it's just a setup for God to do something amazing. I hope that encourages you today, church. We'll be back tomorrow with another devotional. We'll be finishing John chapter 9 tomorrow. Have a great day. Share this with someone. I hope you guys enjoy it. God bless you.